Hello and welcome. It is Thursday, 4th day of October. I almost said September 2018. Welcome to the Money Charts channel. All bets, trades, and of the like within one's own risk reward. And I have not seen this light of volatility, I think, ever within the crypto market since I've been involved in trading it, well over 1.5 years of time frame. And I haven't had a trade in a day and a quarter. No trades at all on the calendar date, October the 3rd. My last one was about 11:58 p.m. Eastern Time on the 2nd. None yet on the 4th. It is 8:53 a.m. Eastern Time. And we have seen just a lot of the sideways action within the 18 average amongst the Bitcoin chart keeping the choppiness available within the short-term time frame, keeping the lower highs intact, not breaking down below any of the lows. Every single time the low 6,000s have came into play, and of recent time frame, it's here and it's here. The market has held, and so far it has been two successful support tests amongst the 18 lows. So a lot of this indecision, and it does need to start to get over some of these highs to start talking about breaking the higher highs on the longer term. Looking at this on a shorter term time frame, moving next towards the triple hour chart, and there's the move going below the 18. This session here, 20 hours yesterday. This all happened really quick, just a matter of a few minutes. But it went from the 18 lows at about 64.5, rallying up to about 66. Since then, it has corrected a little sideways, staying above the barely newly rising 18 average. But when we look at all of these up and down moves, this is most certainly a very choppy up and down moving market, which is great as far as just waiting for buy orders and sell orders to come in on both sides within low volatility movements, because just going back and forth can, well, give you small profits along the way, and that's all you're going to get, but profits are profits. And amongst this move in here in the single hour, we can see more of this quick move, and that when they happen so fast. You're going to see the big move here on the 15-minute. One period, the low is 64.76, the high is a little over 66. The differential is about 130, so that's 2%. And then just grinding its way to the downside, still holding well above where it came from. And then the key level of resistance, there was, I would say, between 64.75 and 6,500. If there's going to be a little bit of lag lower, but it's all just whatever on the short-term movements, as I'm still waiting on the longer-term time frame. Are we going to revert this into an uptrend where we have a rising 18 average, price action going above it, finding support within it, and rarely having price action going below it? So the rarely going price action going below it would be situations like this and this, and of course that's what you would expect in that of a bull market. Since the top, price action has been below the 18 here, decent period here, a little bit here. Right now it has spent the whole time within it, and the only action above the 18, small pierce above here, small here, barely getting above there. So that's been showing what has been a downtrend when the majority of the action has been spent below the 18 average of the lower prices. On the current situation, it's just tightly staying within this on minutely tiny volatility within this 18. The correctionary move making everything for the next short-term play on this, for me, nothing more than a big question mark, because it's got to get above these highs. It's at least got to get above this one, but I want to see it even get above this one in here before we can start talking about how the downtrend is over and an uptrend is now rising again. I want to bring up altcoin XBY, which can be found on the Cryptopia exchange. So far within the daily session, the low is 451, the high is 468. The differential of 17 basis points, that's about 3%. The volume, only 1 1/3 Bitcoin, and it was 0.18 that I seen yesterday for a 24-hour period, as there was like no volume at all within, well, here's the no volume period. And overall within this, there's been this situation of it's just doing nothing, and this of pretty much doing nothing. And again, low volatility from the lowest end of this, which is barely over 400, and a high barely below 500. So like 20% since the middle of September, 3 weeks. That's low volatility for these altcoins. I've added some circles within this chart. The blue one represents the area where buy orders were coming in. Within this code, every time it moves 3 or 4 points, I'm buying or selling, depending on which situation it was in. So a decent amount of buy orders got filled after the September 16th date. Then when it broke down below this low again, I had some more buying. Again, 475 was my lowest sell order. So I only had one sale, which happened, could only have been here, given that the number was 475 that I sold at. I had one buy order back, and then from 475 to like 489, I sold some more again, like 475, like 479, maybe 483, 486, and like 489. There was 5 sell orders in total. And after such, well, I placed a buy order at 429, which didn't get hit. This is the lowest point here. PivX a couple days ago, I missed that barely on my buy order, and it's starting to rally, so there's not much I'm going to be able to do with that for now. That's not going to go over that too much, just rather that situation was similar to this. When it went down, I barely missed buying it. I have a sell order at 494, buy order at 429. So if I sell this, I'll put a buy order in around 433. And if I buy this, I'll put a sell order in around 490. That's basically how I do it. Looking back even further as we go into, well, it was breaking below 600, right around here, where I wanted to get back into it, which meant buying between 500 and 550, which is where the buying situation numbers came in. Currently, it's at like 450, 460, so you're down about 100 basis points, but you shouldn't be down in a spot like this where you had great sell order opportunities at up to 900, the buybacks in here, tiny sell orders and buy orders back in here, so not much, but a little bit. Buy order city here, sell order in here, buying down here, selling up here, buying down here, selling up here, buying down here, and this barely starting to sell again. But overall, this volatility is like nothing. Let's move on to the next chart. And the ticker symbol for such will be ARN, and I'm crossing it against that of Bitcoin. So putting a line at pretty much where the price is right now shows lots of resistance that has came into play, as it did so on September the 4th, came close to it on the 17th, 2 days on the 26th and 27th of September, and now really for the last 3 days it has been trading within such an area, but of major note or major noticing of such is this has for the last 2 to 3 weeks been showing a lot of strength amongst the 18 average of highs without really having any type of breakout, thus breaking out or going higher in a very low way, like grinding your way higher. There's a lot of what I would like to, within this empty space that it has had, that if it breaks it, it could very easily have a very fast move up to some key levels. The next key level of where it came from is about 8,900 and change. So that's a differential of about a 50% move. Then you got this even larger level of previous support at about 13,000 Satoshi up to about 14,000. It would need to do better, but barely better, than doubling to get to that point. And oftentimes, if not almost all of the times, when markets go up compared to the preceding down markets, it does it a lot faster. And we'll see in a situation, if this is ready to break, if this would be yet another case of such. But this one in here with the hour time frame after the first or the second previous hit of October 2nd, decent sized down move, which we see successful correction within the 18 and a decent amount within such, but it broke above it on at midnight last night and has went from the 58 up to the 61. So it's in towards that area. Support test successfully. I really want to see it stay above about 59.25 if it's going to go down any type of significant lower amounts. But this thing does seem poised for a decent move higher. Of course, all trades you do is within your own risk and reward. But I like the look of the setup, or the setup this has. Next up is CyberMiles, CMT on the ticker symbol, showing such against Bitcoin. This is obviously a downtrend. A little bit of a failed rally, small sell order attempt, because on the way down, if you were able to buy within this congested area, which would have been about 2240, well, there was a gain of about 50%, 40 plus percent. So an opportunity to be able to get a small trade along the way. But throwing that part aside and looking at how it plays out now, the bottom down in here, seeing the waterfall come to a completion, band going sideways. It still is going sideways. It established a level of resistance right in here. I was supposed to draw a line in, it didn't draw. There's a line. So there's a level of resistance, and it's really, you got up here is where the line is. And then it had a level of resistance, and I'm not going to draw a line for this, but around 1475 it is now sensed after broke through that. But after the break on September the 29th, what has it done since? It has had 5 periods holding the gain, but showing strength amongst the 18 average of highs and supporting the level of resistance that it had from early September and the resistance from the 4th week of September, or 3rd week of September / 4th. And within this last few days, getting above what it has established just recently in here, because it had 2 different days in which it resisted it. So on the 29th, it came up to it, pulled back to 1489 or 1500 under such. So it gave back over 10%, and then it had a nice run after that. So if you take a look at this, say on a triple hour time frame, it's, to me, a beautiful setup. As there's the resistance, comes back down to the 18, beautiful. Back up again, and it comes back and it continues to trade amongst this low and highs of the 18, support, resistance, support, so many times. But then at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we'll look at this more clearly on a single hour time frame, last one was 12. This one started at 4 in the morning, and it got by this level of resistance. That's the big thing. So when that's the case, you would be expecting it to come up to this next key level of 1665. It kind of has, in that it's a pierce below, but it has been having a good move. Sure, we could have selling that could come back down on and be bullish, and the key word is could, because I get very uncomfortable in this situation and thinking, is it a good play to quote unquote bet against this market at this time frame of 1645, realizing that this is going to go down to probably 1600 and a pierce below, probably in the 1590s? or a differential of about 50 plus basis points or over 3%. You know, a lot of times I do see it, but to me, I realize if it breaks out above this level of resistance, that it is just got decent potential for gains that would even exceed what was this in that 1540 to 1640, 100 points of 8%. And I'm going to finish it off with Tron, TRX, which has completed its waterfall move, going from about 1,000 Satoshi down to about 300, losing about 70% of its value within the move. But these candles right now, they won't even come up and touch the 18 highs or lows. The last time it has touched either, it hasn't touched the 18 average of highs since September the 27th. It hasn't touched the 18 average of lows since September 18th. And the volatility is just tiny. And we look at days like this, low 333, high 340, the differential of 7 basis points. That's barely over that of 2%. I mean, I joke around because the stock markets have 2% gains or moves per day. At least a lot of the high chip stocks would. Today's session, 332 to 338, a differential of 6 points. 2%. Yesterday, differential 11 points. That's about 3%. This day here, differential of 7 points, 2%. This is just crazy how it's like as low volatile as it gets, almost like it's storing energy, and when this thing is going to be going, it's going to have a decent sized pop. But the general thing about technical analysis to me is you understand the patterns. You understand that this was a major down move and it has been sideways ever since. Whenever you have a down move, you're most likely always going to be able to draw support lines on the downtrend. And I'm not going to draw a straight line, but you're going to get the idea of what I mean when I talk about downtrends like that. And in a sideways market, which has been the case, you should always be able to establish some levels of support and resistance within the range. And here, well, this would be support. Resistance would be for such. So this is the firm sideways range that we have been in. Very much clarified for this level of in here because there was no other resistance you could use back in September. And you notice it's hit this level again a second time. So it's a strong area. And it's stuck right in the middle of such. So when it breaks this 2% per day volatility, it's either got to have a significant break to the what seems like miles away, a hit to this resistance or the support. But when you break either one, you should have some significant moves, either grinding or decent sized moves lower. This is the ultimate, and many coins share this, of grinding its way over multiple periods to the downside. But again, markets seem to go up faster than they go down. The amount of time that it took to go from 500 to the this, well, we'll say even 1,000 was from like April 14th to like it was a little over 2 weeks. How long did it take to lose that amount? Well, it went down on May the 27th. It reached that area in the middle of July. So it took about 8 weeks. Much slower. Markets go up a lot faster. So if this is going to go up, don't be surprised if it happens really, really fast. And I've made this again another long video, so I'm going to stop it at that. And thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.